So the way you should have gone in there is saying, I'm here on a restricted appearance or a special appearance. I am the agent, or I am the living blood. I'm here to respond on the behalf to settle this issue with the corporate fiction spelled in all uppercase. And you say that name. But you forgot to tell them that you and that are not one and the same. That's a missing element in most conversations. And then the second thing that most people should have gone into court with, it's an administrative remedy. You can't go into that place unless, of course, you exhausted all your administrative remedies. Other than that, if you're going to utilize that corporation, you should have gone in there with some forms. And I'm going to tell you, when you have to go into that court system from now on, how you want to turn things around, because I'm just going to jump ahead, speed ahead, because I want to talk about some other two issues. I want to talk about IRS and I want to talk about trust. When you go into that system, you should have accompany forms. 1040. There's four different types. There's several different types of 1040 forms. B, ES, and several others. Because what's happening is the court took out a bond on you. They've already accessed 10% of that. So if the police officers stop you for, say, a rolling stop sign, you signed this bond. You didn't protest it before it got into the court system, which you should have turned the ticket, which is a bond, that the law enforcement, whoever that claimed to be, gave it to you. You didn't send it back to them and say, I refuse to accept your offer of contract. You didn't send it back under Regulation Z. So now you have to go into their system and clear up that whole matter. So now you have to go into their territory, their vessel, and then you have to declare yourself an orphanage, and that the rice that's behind you is at the door, and you're game. I mean, you're at their mercy. So what you have to do is clarify some issues why you came there, and you have to safeguard yourself while you in their jurisdiction, but you didn't know, none the wiser. So what you've got to go into these systems with courts to protect yourself, and there's taxes because you're a corporation, because your name is spelled in all uppercase, because you are a Cecil Trust, and because of that, they are holding you liability before the bond that they've taken out, because they're getting paid for the state. So which means what they're doing is a profit. They're extorting from the state, and you should be helping the state to go after them for that. But you haven't done that, because what you should have been doing is reporting this to the IRS on their forms called 3949A, 1040V, which is a voucher, and other documents, and Form 211 into the court system, letting them know that, hey, by the way, you was here on a restricted appearance, you identify yourself properly, and therefore you've turned to the judge and asked him to settle this matter because he was appointed the trustee. So the other thing you can do is when you go into the courts and the judge says State versus Rebecca, and you get up and say I'm restricted appearance, and the judge says, well, I need you to properly identify yourself, and you go, I'm an agent for Rebecca, and the judge will say, is Rebecca in the court? And you can say, yes, you.
And you point to the judge?
Yes, to the judge, because he is the trustee of Rebecca, not you.
Exactly. Yes.
So in a way, lots of people should start referring to themselves and their all-cap names and themselves only as the agents in all administrative scenarios and all dealings. You should be dealing through the signature.
Exactly. And that's how you should be identifying. So when you go into their courts, you know, I go over this when I teach his classes, and this is where, you know, Tamara and many others have come to my class, and they've learned extensively about how to do this properly without no confrontational. And it's beautiful because your remedy is actually in their record. If you just, it's the way you present it, and the way I show you how to present it, they become your best friends. Actually, you're not an enemy anymore. And the best one who's going to become your best friend is the IRS. I'll show you how to make the IRS your best friend. That's what Bill Clinton did when he got into, everybody knows Bill Clinton. Everyone knows that when Bill Clinton got pissed off, all he did was went to the IRS and they just ordered your books. That's what he would do. So he became best friends. And the best thing about the IRS, they pay you 30%. They pay you 30% of finder's fee.
For what? Reporting the judges?
Or helping them to balance the books.
Yes, anyone.
To balance the books. I mean, you're basically helping them in all. Okay, let me explain something about the IRS. Let me go into the finish up with the courts. When you go into the courts, you should have those forms in front of you to fill it out, to send to the IRS when you leave there. Because what the court is attempted to do is to access your account through what they call long-term care. This is why when you go into the court system, they put you on probation, or they're menu to psychiatric wards, or they put you in prison. They're accessing your account through a long-term care bond. When they do that, they're siphoning money out of that account. Okay, now if you understand trust, okay, it's a defunct trust, because a trust, the beneficiaries need to know who is the grantor, and the beneficiary needs to know who the protector and the trustees are. In this sequential trust, it's not a proper trust in the first place. You don't know who the grantor is, and then they did a switch of bait on you, had you to sign, turn around, make you the trustee, and then they are the beneficiaries in court in their building. That's what they've done. So now you're holding the liability, so they get to rape this account through long-term care. IRS comes after you and say, you owe taxes, damn it. I want out taxes. I want my money. I want it now. And you're thinking, well, you can't tax income. They're not taxing you for your income. You are a corporation. You haven't paid your taxes. You are being paid by the state. You are a state employee. You are a federal employee. You have made a profit. You have excised 15 bars in the last 1 year, and we want you to pay the penalties or the tax consequences of that. Do you get it? Corporation has to pay taxes, and you're not exempt until you can rebut that by correcting your status and standing. Now, let's get into status and standing. This is why you're being taxed. That's why you're being penalized through the court system. And not only mention, you were stowaway, you came onto their vessel, you didn't have proper documentation, and you didn't have proper representation either. So that's why nothing that you say works. It doesn't matter. You got a disparata non-dependent John Day going on because the similar things are not to be joined. So whatever laws that applies to them, they're null and void, because when you have a breaching of a contract, you cannot, what they've done is you can't compel the other person to compel to performance. There's a breaching of contract, it's null and void. So what that means to say, if you believe that the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Federal Rules of Procedure applies to them, it doesn't, because they have a dissimilar things. They cannot proceed with procedure because there's a mix match here. They're playing chess and you're playing checkers. There's no meeting of the minds here. So all you are is aggravating them on their soil, in their territory, and they're pissed about it. And you're arguing about something that you have no idea what you're doing. So you're incompetent. You're a ward of the state, and you're an enemy. So there are many facets to this, is why nothing that you do in court, just simply don't go there. But if you must go there, I can show you how you should go there and how you should properly interact with them, because there's a proper way of doing it. None the wiser, and you're thinking, well, gee, why weren't we told all of this? Well, you need to go back into 1933 as to why that happened. And unfortunately, we don't have that kind of time, so what you have to do is start from fresh. Start from today. If you got to go there with paperwork in hand that you need to report that. You need to help the IRS to adjust the accounting, because they're accessing your account, your sequential trust that you're not benefiting from. They are. There are taxes on it. If you get into trust, beneficiary, no trust pays for the tax. It's a pass-through entity. The beneficiary pays the taxes on the end. This is why you must pay the penalties and the fees and all the taxes associated with your case. You have created more debt, and you're not even owning up to it. So what you have to do is tell the IRS somebody has accessed your account other than you, and here's the paperwork to support that. Suddenly, you're going to have a different case when you go to court, when judges need to see that you're going to report their illegal activities, because each of their agency needs to do They need you to help them to make sure that everybody gets a piece of the same pie. They all agreed to be pirates. What they all didn't agree is one of them taking more of their share. And you can make it to your benefit. Unfortunately, nothing about the court system is about trying facts or law or truth. It's all about money, and it's all about uh, war prizes. That's what it is, because the court is the administrator of your trust that you're pushing around their document. The bar member is the trustee. And until you know the roles, what they are, you're not going to get the sufficient wind that you need. You shouldn't be there in the first place if you claim to be sovereign. Everything should have been done through a notary or through the mail. And if you can't access a notary, then you use a registered or certified mailer, and that acts as a third-party interloper. And if you notice that everything they do is with a third-party interloper. This is why you're not having any success in recording any of your documents in the county, in the state, in their courts, whether state or federal, because flesh and paper are not to be combining. You need someone that's neutral, because they're fiction, which is public, and you're private. They have to have someone neutral that everyone has agreed to. Like all countries agreed that Switzerland is a neutral ground territory. No one's to ever war there. Because Switzerland, well, everybody knows what Switzerland really is. So everybody knows they agreed to hide their money there. So everybody will do everything they can to protect what? Switzerland. So you need to do the same thing. And so now, I talk to judges about status and standing. Many judges told me status and standing is everything. Because until you can prove that you are not a slave of theirs, you must pay your taxes. You must do that's what's required of you. Until you can prove otherwise, you are a product of theirs. And how you do that is coming out of the matrix. Then coming out of the matrix meaning you must give everything back to them. You must take that driver's license. You must hand it in. That passport, United States passport, that insurance that's on your car, the license plate that's on your car, the house that you have, everything that is in uppercase, you must surrender that, and you must create your own. Now you say how to do that. You must do an affidavit of truth. You must declare who you really are. Let it season. Know that you're a policy maker, and when there's a policy maker, you then create your own documents. You put forth and you record those documents. You record your own birth certificate. You create your own ID and you record that and you run with that. You create your own passport, and then you get into a trust organization. You get in a trust because when you have a trust, you need an organization that's behind you that allows you to do that. When you see how they operate badly, whether they're on duty or off duty. Police officers act badly whether they're on duty or off duty. Why? They have an entire organization behind them called the police department and the police association. Judges, they've been misbehaved on the bench and off the bench. And what they say they have behind them, the court system. Employees of any city or municipality, whether they're on duty or off duty, they behave badly. And what do they have still behind them protecting them? Their counties, their cities, their state. You need an organization that you can do the same. You need to be a governing body. You need to show that you need to operate through commerce. And the only way you can navigate is having an entity that they respect and they acknowledge. That makes to say an organization of like kind. And the only thing that is of like kind is either running in a trust or foundation.